How's everybody doing today? I'd like to welcome you to another episode of The Truth Algorithm. Today is March 18th, 2021. Got a lot of stuff to talk about today. I want to start off with the video because the subject I want to talk about today is the overall greed and how greed has destroyed America in many different ways. There's other things, but greed, when you boil it down, it really seems to be what it is. And I'll explain that. But first, I want you guys to see a video. So let's start it. This is from Project Veritas, and this is a Facebook executive.
I work for a company that is doing a lot of damage in the world. It's doing a lot of good, but it's doing a lot of damage. I mean, no king in the history of the world has been the ruler of 2 billion people. But Mark Zuckerberg is.
Facebook and Google are no longer companies, they're countries. They must be stopped. The government needs to step in and break up Google and Facebook. It's a better thing for the world.
The single biggest thing is this company needs to be broken up. No king in the history of the world has been the ruler of 2 billion people. But Mark Zuckerberg is.
I'm a journalist. I just want to let you know that I intend to release our conversations to the American people. Are you interested in interviewing on the record with us to clarify your statements to the American people?
Today, Project Veritas undercover journalists have exposed another high-level executive at Facebook who's caught on a hidden camera saying, quote, the government needs to step up and break up Google and Facebook, unquote. Benny Thomas, Facebook's global planning lead, goes on to say in this hidden camera recording he'd, quote, make less money, but it's better for the world. Take a listen to this Facebook unwitting whistleblower.
The problem is then the government has to step in, which is what needs to happen now as well. The government needs to step in and break up Google and Facebook. I'll make less money, but it's a better thing for the world.
Why do you think so?
This is an executive.
Facebook and Google are too powerful and they need to be made less powerful.
If this sounds familiar, it's because it is. A few weeks ago, one of our insiders leaked us tape from within Facebook's meetings of Nick Clegg, Facebook's head of global affairs, and he also admitted the company has too much power.
But there has been quite a lot of disquiet expressed by many leaders around the world, from the president of Mexico to Alexander Navalny in Russia, and Chancellor Angela Merkel, and others saying, well, this shows that private companies have got too much power and they should be only making these decisions in a way that is framed by democratically agreed rules. We agree with that. We agree with that.
It's clear Thomas believes the government needs to step in and break up Facebook, maybe because he's cognizant that, quote, nothing is going to happen for a long time in regards to current state lawsuits who have already been trying to break up Facebook.
It's like right now Facebook is being sued by, by 49 states for this breakup. Anti-competitive.
Pretty too fast.
But, so you might say, oh, Facebook is being sued. You know what? That case is going to drag on for years and years. It's just going to go on in courts because Facebook has all the money in the world, so does the US government. They'll just keep fighting, Nothing's going to happen for a long time until, I don't know. It's going to take a while, but I think people need to be just sensitized. Instagram, Facebook, Messenger, Oculus, WhatsApp, they all need to be separate companies. It's too much power when they're all one together. It needs to be broken up the way the telecom companies were broken up and the oil companies were broken up. But better than that, because those guys just came back together pretty soon after that, and I hope we've learned from that. But that's really the one thing, if you said, I would break it up and I would remove Zuck as the CEO.
Thomas, a global planning lead for Facebook, goes so far as to say they should remove Mark Zuckerberg, his own CEO. It's pretty intense. He also says Facebook doesn't even act like a company. He says it's more like its own country. Not a surprise, because there are states like Nevada that are drafting bills to make tech companies their own governments.
Facebook and Google are no longer companies, they're countries.
Well, no, which country?
That's insane.
They're
They're
as
their
big as
own
countries.
entity.
They're more powerful than any
It's
country.
only going to enhance,
Unless
not
they're
gonna-
like
stopped.
rapidly.
They must
Not
be
gonna
stopped.
end well.
Oh my gosh.
Like it says in the Matrix.
It is creepy.
But what's
can
going
see
to
it.
stop it?
The
Why
government.
should it be stopped?
It has to be stopped because
It's not good.
it's not good for
It's all
society.
about division.
He owns a controlling stake in the company. So you can't do it the usual way that you do in the corporate world, which is the board can just fire you, right? The board can't do that to Zuck. The board can't do that to Larry Page and Sergey Brin at Google because they own too much of the company. They're too powerful. So these are not companies anymore. These are countries.
They are countries.
And they're very big countries. They're countries of the size of China and the US. Yeah. I mean, no king in the history of the world has been the ruler of 2 billion people. But Mark Zuckerberg is. And he's 36. Like, that's too much for a 36-year-old. Like, you should not be. You should not have power over 2 billion people. I just think that's wrong.
You heard it there straight from the horse's mouth. Facebook's own employees think it's, quote, wrong that 36-year-old Mark Zuckerberg yields power over 2 billion people. But Thomas doesn't believe the only crisis at Facebook is Zuckerberg's power.
Nope, the best
The
part's
problem
coming
is
up.
people are not differentiating. People are believing
Eugenics.
whatever they see. And it's just
So
causing
what's
a
the
crisis.
answer?
Transhumanism.
Well, we're working on it. But the answer is just more controls, more safeguards. The answer is the same answer of why do cars not crash on the street? Because there's traffic lights.
Right.
So they know when to stop. You need traffic lights and cops and white lines dividing the
To
road.
give people a moral compass?
Yeah, and to give people a guide to behavior. That's called democracy. Somebody's always watching you so that you behave well. Like, so that you have the traffic lights. They've conducted experiments. The honesty jar experiment, where like they'll put cookies out there and there's nobody there, but like there'll be cookies and a jar, and they'll say, put whatever you think is right. We think we should pay $1 for this cookie. And they did an experiment where they just did that in a room and watched how much. Yes, please. Watched how much money people put in there, and then they did the simple thing. They put a picture of a pair of eyes on the wall in that room, and you know what happened? People start putting more money into the jar. So when we feel that somebody's watching us, we just behave better.
It all sounds very Orwellian. Thomas wants more people watching you, so you better behave. But at the same time, he openly admits that Facebook's technology can be weaponized against its own users. How does one reconcile that?
There's always built-in bias because this is the myth that computer programmers told us is, oh, these are computers. Computers don't have bias. But guess what? Human beings wrote that code. And that human being has bias. So that's why facial recognition technology often doesn't get black people's faces right. Because bias is built into the coding of that.
That sounds harmless, right? That sounds harmless, but at what point is it not so harmless?
When you weaponize it as a politician and you go, show me people who are racist. Now, you can't put that into Facebook, but there are all kinds of data proxies for racist. So if I'm a racist politician who wants to find fellow racists who will vote for me, I can use the algorithm for that. Now, Facebook, as Facebook says, the algorithm was not meant for that, but you can use it for that. It's just like, the glass, I can use it to drink or I can break it and kill someone with it. Like,
Right.
it's up to you what you do with
Right.
it,
And who gets to define, for instance, who the racist is?
Algorithm.
Is that like a protocol, or is there?
Well, Well, you would find proxies. What would be a proxy for a racist? Lives in all white town. Education. Religious preference. So you can triangulate 3 or 4 data points and say
lives in a white town.
She's likely to be racist.
Education.
And then you can target her. Now, the thing is, I can't target that person. I don't know that it is Elizabeth that I'm targeting. I just know it's a bunch of people. I will get to know that like you've got your message was seen by 11,500 people based on your target. So that's all I know. I don't actually know the names and issues, but I am able, like I said, I can target racist people using just those 3 things.
Google and Facebook remain unchecked. Where do we go from there? What's going to happen? Well, what's going to happen?
Bad things.
Watch this.
Like what?
I don't want to talk about that because that's a long conversation.
So we sent another undercover journalist to follow up with Thomas and have that, quote, longer conversation about what he thinks the future holds.
So Mark Zuckerberg is very concerned with health. In fact, his the Chan Zuckerberg initiative.
Oh, I know about the CRISPR and the gene editing therapy.
That's one of the things they do, but they also fund.
Well, yeah, they fund a lot of that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm into all that. I love. I'm fascinated and terrified at the same time.
At CRISPR, you should be. It's eugenics, and I don't know any way to stop it. I think the genie is out of the bottle. It's the singularity is what the future is going to look like. So Ray Kurzweil is a futurologist and scientist and just general innovator, and he's been talking about this concept called the singularity, which is basically his way of describing man and machine getting merged together. And as he points out, he said, you know what? It's nothing new. It's not like you have to go straight to like cyborg. Like people have had pacemakers in their heart for like 40 years now. So those people are already part machine and part human. And what he talks about is, he said, we are evolving to a point where this combination of computing ability and human, which is what he calls the singularity, the convergence of the two, is going to be the future, because that will be a superior race, obviously. Right? If you have a chip in your brain, you can do so many things better than me, right? Like maybe not emotional, artistic things, but a lot of rational, calculated things, right? Like adding up a bill, or figuring out how to invest in something, or 1,000 things in your life will become a lot simpler, right? So then he says, again, what is the ethical prerogative? Are you just creating, again, 2 classes of haves and have-nots, but really extreme haves and have-nots? Not even like, oh, they have money, I don't, but maybe one day I'll make money. No, they have a thing that I can never have. This is what is going to happen if CRISPR gets to. So I don't know what to do about it.
Like you said, the genie's out of the bag. There's no way to stop it.
I just don't know what to do about it. Yeah, it's there.
And do the people know?
No, because most people don't understand these things, and most people don't think about them.
How can we tell people? Which
is why a lot of shit goes down, because people aren't paying attention.
Thomas seems to think that if people would just start paying attention, the future would be brighter, that things would look up. We confronted Thomas with the footage and asked him to go on the record, asked him to join our team of insiders, and here's what happened.
Benny, I gotta talk to you about something. I'm a journalist, and I've been talking to you for a bit and documenting it, and I just want to let you know that I intend to release our conversations to the American people.
You shouldn't do that.
I just wanted to know if you wanted to interview on the record to clarify your statements to the American people.
No.
Benny, you could be a catalyst for change. You said it yourself that Facebook's too powerful. that the legal battle will go on forever. Where's the catalyst? Would you consider going on the record and interviewing with us?
Someone loses his job.
Who's us?
Project Veritas. The video I showed you, whistleblowers and insiders come to us because they're the only people they trust in the media. We support our insiders, Benny. We support them. Are you interested in interviewing on the record with us to clarify your statements to the American people?
No. Hello?
Hey, Benny. This is James O'Keefe with Project Veritas. Do you just have a minute to talk off the record?
No.
Just take a minute, Benny. We're putting the story together, and I just want to talk to you about what's going on. Hang up the phone.
Here's one more thing from Facebook, since we're on the subject. Voter drive. This is from the Epoch Times, I believe. Yeah, they say the Facebook voter drive swayed election to Biden, executive caught on camera. They're talking about him. Facebook's drive to register 4.5 million voters swayed the November election, and President Joe Biden, a Facebook executive, opined in hidden camera footage, or opined. This is a good side of Facebook. We made a big difference, he said in a video released by Veritas on March 16th, explaining that Facebook exceeds its goal of registering 4 million people and could only accomplish the task because of its sheer scale and reach. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Biden won that way, the reporter said. Yeah, Thomas replied, laughing. What do you think? The reporter jumped in. Exactly, I think so too. Thomas's LinkedIn profile describes his position as a global planning lead, creative, and experiential at Facebook since September 2019. Facebook didn't immediately respond to a request by the Epoch Times for comment. Thomas suggested to one of the reporters that Facebook needs to do more to control speech on its platforms. People are believing whatever they see, and it's just causing a crisis, said in another video. When asked about his views on the situation, on the solutions, he said, the answer is just more controls, more safeguards to give people guided behavior. Behavior needs to be kept in check through surveillance, he suggested. Full stop. How creepy is that? Stop. Why do you need to control us? It's always about control. It's always that these things become power, and then they want to control you, and they think that they know what's good for you and how you should act and how you should be. I can't stand that. These oligarchs, they're oligarchs. And then they have like this oligopoly with all these big tech, and then I just hate it. Anyway, we saw the video. You heard pretty much what they said. I just wanted to show you that quick. But anyway, I did want to talk about greed. Greed. All right. Now, when I talk about greed, what's going on in the country right now, I believe that our politicians have sold this out. All right. And, everyone believes this already. But when you go to Washington, you go there. You say you're going there to help the people that govern you, but it seems that the people that are in the House and in the Senate are not really voting for us or trying to help us. It seems like they're just trying to push their agenda and keep power. And they want to keep that power because that power helps them make more money. I'm not talking about the salary they get each year. I'm talking about all the ways they make money on the side. And they do it in secretive ways. They do it by having their family members take the money. Like in Bernie Sanders' case, he took money from his, when he was running for president. He has his wife and I guess his family have the media company. So he takes money out of his campaign money that people give him, and he uses it and he gives it to his wife, and she's the one that makes the commercials or whatever. So the money comes right back in. So he keeps like the campaign money. That's the way they play the games. Also, lobbyists, that way. Wars, getting money from that. There's so many different ways that they fuel money back in. And if you've been looking at the bills that have been getting passed, $2 trillion bills, I think we have $6 trillion right now, and they still have another $4 trillion to $6 trillion they want to spend. They say it's on infrastructure, but it's really the Green New Deal. Also, Biden being compromised, his son being compromised by China and Ukraine and Russia and the stuff that happened there. And it seems that it's just all about money. And when it really comes down to it, we lost our jobs. A lot of factories left because they put regulations, and then we sent our jobs over to mostly to China, some to Mexico. And like the story that I'm about to read you, those jobs all went away. And the reason they went away is because companies realized that they had to pay so much money, and there was so much regulations here that if they pay to pick up their, factories and send them overseas to China or Mexico, that they can make a lot more money and send it back here and make a lot more money having somebody do it for $1 instead of $15, and then they just get profit. So they weren't worried about America being okay and Americans having jobs. They were just worrying about selling to Americans, even though they were at one point, and I guess still are, American businesses that don't really care about America, because that's the way it goes. It's all about the shareholders at that point. And you got to keep making money and money every year. So you got to make your decisions based on that. So that's greed. So, it's greed from the politicians. It's greed from the big companies. And now it seems like the big companies like big tech and big pharma and all this other stuff, they pretty much run our policies because they are telling our politicians what they want. They're not listening to us. You know what I mean? Not until they're elected. And once they're elected, they go in there and then they do what the lobbyists and, all these people want them to do. Big tech, pharma, blah, blah, blah. And they have relationships with these companies to, especially like big tech, censoring conservatives. It's frustrating. So this just happened. The UAW warns, is from Ep.8 Times, I believe. Yep. UAW warns workers Ford plans to move project worth $900 million from Ohio to Mexico, by Jack Phillips on March 18th. Of course. Why? Because it's cheaper. The United Auto Workers Union said that the Ford Motor Company plans to build a new vehicle in Mexico instead of Ohio might be a violation of the auto manufacturer's contractual commitments. We 100% reject the company's decision to put corporate greed and more potential profits over American jobs and the future of our members. We expect the company to honor its contractual commitments to this membership, and when it fails to do so, we will take action. UAW Vice President Gerald Karim, try to find it on here, said, "We are intensely exploring our options at this time," he added. In the letter, I think it's Karim, or Kareem, I don't know. Karim said Ford in 2019 committed $900 million for a plant in Avon Lake, Ohio, and would include the next generation Ford model to be added to the production lines in 2023. That would have secured the employment well into the foreseeable future for these auto workers. But he blasted Ford for not honoring its promise. Ford plant manager Jason Moore issued a letter to Avon Lake workers after UAW's letter said the conditions surrounding the expansion of the Ohio plant have changed. The 2019 agreement included a reference to a $900 million investment in a new product for OHAP. The letter stated, Moore said that the firm is investing in the plant and will increase Super Duty truck production there. While conditions upon which 2019 administrative letter were based have changed, the company is investing in the plant and increasing production of the Super Duty trucks at OHAP, Moore wrote. Reuters reported that in November, Ford said it intended to produce another electric vehicle model in Cuautitlán, Mexico, as well as the Mustang Mach-E. And Ford spokesperson Kelly Felker, I don't know how to say it, Felker. Oh, okay. Kelly Felker did not say whether Ford would keep its agreement to invest in the Ohio plant. We are always looking at our options, Felker told the Detroit Free Press. We still plan to invest $6 billion and create and retain 8,500 jobs in America during the course of this 4-year contract, she said. We are invested in Ohio assembly plant and our dedicated workforce there. So Senator Sherrod Broad, a Democrat from Ohio, or Sherrod Brown, criticized Ford's decision. In 2019, Ford made a commitment to invest $900 million into Avon Lake. The Ohio plant now is reportedly moving the entire project to Mexico. Full stop. I wonder why. What's changed? Regulations? I don't know. A president, maybe? So President Joe Biden, whom the UAW endorsed for president in 2020. How sad. They endorsed him, and now it's taking away his jobs, their jobs. Has reportedly sought to focus on American car manufacturing as part of the plan to create new car industry jobs. Sad, sad, sad. Also, when I was talking about greed earlier, I think we also owe China around $1 trillion. We owe a couple other countries near $1 trillion. And, I think what are we in debt right now? Let's see real quick. Right now, we are almost $30 trillion in debt. And we owe China $1.1 trillion. All right. And we also owe Japan $1.26, Switzerland $247 billion, Brazil $26 billion, $264 billion, Hong Kong $266, Luxembourg $267 billion, Ireland $330 billion, United Kingdom $445 billion. Now, our antibiotics, our drugs are made there, our generic drugs are made there. We are so heavily dependent on China and other countries that if something happens, we are screwed. We learned this in the beginning of the pandemic, that China took all the masks, all the PPE, took all of it and was hoarding it and then selling it back to us at 3 times the price. Then they let their people go all over the country or go all over the world, but they didn't let the people in Wuhan go anywhere out into China. So they stayed open. They kept going. They held it down, and the rest of the world just rotted and had to shut down, which we probably never should have shut down, but we did. And a year later, still shut down, still wearing masks, still doing all this. And, I think it's a wake-up call, and I think people need to realize that the greed of this country and the greed of people has been destroying us. It's not just, the critical race theory. It's not all that stuff. That's definitely the part, and people not having a purpose, and maybe people being depressed, a lot of other different things. But this country cannot sustain, or what's the word I want to use? It cannot keep going this way. If it does, we will end up poor, broke, third world, fighting, just horrible place to live. You know what I mean? As of right now, the American dream does still exist, I believe. But I believe that we really need to start getting our things back together and, find a middle point where we can agree and start there. And we got to be careful. These people it just seems like these progressive left, these hardcore leftists are really trying to push in. I mean, it's the establishment left too, but just trying to push this country so far left so fast because they believe they only have 2 years to do it. So they're going to push it as fast as they can. They want to get rid of guns. They want to spend as much money in the blue states, bail out all the blue states. They want to do all this. You know what I mean? It's all about money, power, money. It gets so old just watching it. And then it's like a soap opera of, this person said this to that person, this politician said this, but nobody ever does anything. Just like with big tech. They had how many little stupid conferences asking mostly dumb questions to these people, not really ever acting or doing anything. No repeal to Section 230. It just seems like nothing's getting done. And it seems like they don't want it to get done. They're there to make a show, have a soundbite. Oh, look, blah, blah, blah. Get me reelected, and, I'll keep going. We need term limits, too. That's another thing. But anyway, that's it for today. I hope you guys have a great day. Please subscribe if you like the video. Give me a comment, and give me a like or whatever. I really appreciate it. It helps me go up in the algorithm. And see you later.